What's up, guys? This is Armosis, and Dark Souls 2 has been announced. It was just announced last night at the VGAs, and I'll put a link in the description to an article or two, and I'll put a link to the cinematic trailer that was released. Okay, Dark Souls 2 was announced. It sounds great. I'm pretty excited, even though I don't sound like it, but there are a few iffy things about it, and I'll talk about that now. When Dark Souls 2 was announced, like when I saw the headline, I was like, yes, a direct sequel to Dark Souls. It probably takes place after the events of the first game, of one particular ending. I'm not going to say which. We'll see, like, returning characters, and we'll get to travel to, like, different places and countries that were mentioned in the first Dark Souls. And, yeah, but these are the facts. There's a new character, obviously, if you know what happens in the ending, and there's a new world and a new storyline. So it kind of looks like Dark Souls 2 won't be directly connected to Dark Souls 1, in that it's not a sequel or a prequel. But who can really say at this point? Maybe the games are connected, um, but in a way we don't initially expect. I actually watched the trailer before I read that Dark Souls 2 will have its own storyline and world. And as I was watching the trailer, I thought I was picking up on things. Like, I thought I saw the Lord's Blades fighting the protagonist character in the cinematic. A girl gives a knight a feather. I was thinking maybe that has some relation to Velka, or maybe it's a souvenir of reprisal, and stuff like that. And maybe that's what those things are, but also maybe not. Who can say at this point if the games aren't related? I was thinking about it, and I'm going to speculate that the Souls series is going to be a numbered series despite each game being separate, kind of like Final Fantasy. Um, we see similarities between the two series, Souls and Final Fantasy, just from looking at Dark and Demon Souls. I'll explain what I mean. Final Fantasy, despite having numerous numbered sequels, each sequel kind of has its own story and setting unique to itself. However, there are some reoccurring things like races, characters, concepts, themes in the series that makes each game distinctly Final Fantasy. Examples of that are like Mughals in Final Fantasy, a naming system for the spells like Fire and Firaga, and how there's always a character named Sid in every Final Fantasy game. In the Souls series, we see something similar. Like similar character concepts like Lautrec from Dark Souls and Yurt from Demon Souls, reoccurring characters like Patches the Hyena, and even reoccurring areas like the Tomb of the Giants. That's what From is going for with the Souls series. But then why is the sequel called Dark Souls 2? And why aren't they keeping with their current form of title like Word Souls? Couldn't they have called it like Dead Souls or Doomed Souls or Undead Souls, something like that? But maybe they just couldn't because this new game is just too similar to Dark Souls, and so it wouldn't make sense to give it its own title. But at the same time, calling it Dark Souls 2 is misleading, is very misleading, if it's going to have its own story and world. Anyways, I'll get back on track here. Here's my main concern with Dark Souls 2. Miyazaki, in an interview earlier this year, said that he was doubtful that he'd have a role as director in the next Souls project. And at that point, we were all worried, we were all very worried about that statement. But now it kind of looks like our fears have been realized because Miyazaki has been moved to the role of supervisor. I wonder if this is a case of like executive meddling by Namco Bandai. They actually said, or FromSoft said, that they want to appeal to a wider player base, and we've all heard that one before. That's usually what devs say before they kind of simplify or casualize their games or their next iterations in the series. So I was a bit worried at first, but I also like when I read that statement. When I read that statement, I thought they're probably just gonna they're probably gonna make the storyline a bit more straightforward, explain the game's mechanics in detail, and they're gonna release it on the PC along with the 360 and the PS3. So just by doing those things, they can appeal to a wider variety of players, and not limit it to its niche hardcore kind of community. or player base. Um, but now that Miyazaki is supervising instead of directing, I'm kind of getting the feeling that Namco just doesn't want any more like Silver Knight Archers and Anor Londo, if you get what I mean. But of course, this is just more speculation. Alright, I'm going to cut this video off here. This has already gone on for quite a while, and I'm sure you're getting sick of hearing my droning voice. Yeah, check out the links in the description, and if you guys want to comment or discuss Dark Souls 2, feel free to leave a comment. There's some more information than what I talked about in this video, and there's some vague but interesting details on the multiplayer. So if you like this video, if you found it informative, if you agree with any of the things I said or disagree or think I'm an idiot, please tell me. And of course, give me a like or subscribe if you like this video. Thanks, and looking forward to more information about Dark Souls 2. I'll see you guys.